So, welcome to the world that's based on Super Mario World, and given Super Mario World is my favorite 2D Mario game, you can probably imagine why this is my favorite world in the game. We're actually going to be taking Luigi into the stage, and for one major reason. This world introduces Yoshis, and Mario and Luigi are the only one who can ride Yoshis. If Peach or Toad try to ride a Yoshi, or at the very least hit a box, they will get the Yoshi egg, but it'll actually hatch into a boot somehow. And if you're playing as Link, you don't get a mount at all. You don't even get a boot. He just can't use any of that. So for the time being, I do want to use Yoshi for at least a little while. I will change back to Toad after this, though. Also, for some reason, they decided to start out the Super Mario World based on the extra game. If you've played Super Mario World, if you complete the entire game and get through the secret world, then there's actually an exit that, like, changes the assets of the game. So I don't know why they introduced Super Mario World like that. I also don't know what that Toad's deal is. See that guy? He's hopping for some reason. I don't think he was doing that a moment ago. Don't know what he's on about. I'm just breaking the eggs. Wasn't paying attention to what he said, because, I mean, there are eggs down there here that need to be broken. Okay, so flying and pressing a switch is kind of annoying. Oh, I wasn't supposed to break these. Okay, well, this was all on purpose, clearly. See, now Luigi's in trouble, because the authorities are gonna go after him for petty theft so that Toad can get away. In the meantime, yeah, that was probably accidental, but nonetheless it works out in my favor. Oh hey, look, there's another Mr. Saturn. I prefer to think that's the same guy I accidentally threw off a waterfall, because I don't want to think of the possibility that I just murdered a Mr. Saturn earlier. It's not a very comforting thought. So yes, this is a bit of a different stage if you don't turn these switches on. I mean, a few stages got a bit easier in Super Mario World when you press the switch, but this is downright, like, broken in the way it gets easy. Also, this item gets a lot easier to get if you've turned the switch on. I think it's possible to get this extra life, but it's very risky because you might accidentally... Okay, yeah, so I just did it right there. You can get the extra life like that, but if you keep spin jumping, then you'll drill through those other blocks, and then you'll fall to your death. So, bit of a mean trap there, but anyway, not too important. You also might have noticed that Yoshi's getting different abilities based on the shells he eats. If you get a yellow shell, then he'll make little clouds appear when he stomps, which can... It can kill enemies, it's just not that useful. If you eat a red shell, then you'll shoot fireballs, and if you eat a blue shell, then you can fly. It's kind of infamous for breaking levels, because, well, it is indeed kind of broken. Oh yeah, and this section's reminiscent of one of the Yoshi's Island levels in Super Mario World. So that's pretty neat. I can't believe I screwed up that beginning bit, though. You're supposed to get an extra life from that. I believe you also get a red Yoshi in this stage. In addition to there being just normal green Yoshis that can get abilities based on what shells they eat, there's also different colored Yoshis, which act like the shells that they're colored after. See, green Yoshi is like a normal shell. Green shells don't give you any special powers normally. But if you have a red Yoshi, no matter what shell he eats, he'll actually spit fire. He can also get the other abilities of other shells, I think, like... If you eat a yellow shell, then you'll shoot fireballs when you actually shoot the shell, but if you keep it in your mouth, then it will actually, it'll actually fire. Oh yeah, see, red shell right there, but you'll actually create the puff clouds when you land. Same thing with blue shell, you can still fly with a red Yoshi, but when you spit out the blue shell, then you'll shoot it as fire. And you might be wondering why I abandoned my poor boot there. That's because you can't swim with boots. You can swim with Yoshis, but if you're inside of a boot when you're underwater, you just can't jump. It's not possible, so I did have to abandon my boots, and yeah, remember earlier when we had that one section where I said we could get crushed due to moving layers, or events, or whatever it's called? Yeah, that just happened right there. It thought I was partially crushed by one of the blocks, so I unfairly lost one of my powers. Ah well. And yeah, this stage, like the previous one, is also broken by knowing where the switch is. Except I think this one is even easier than the previous stage, because you can just skip entire platforming sections and whoops, I missed that extra life. Good thing I have 32 of the things. And we're done with the stage. That was a pretty good one, I like that one. Alright, and there haven't been any secret exits so far, and we go to a area that's called Ponehammer for some reason. I've never understood the name, but it does kind of, it is a certain theme, or it does evoke a certain theme, which you'll see right about now. So, I'm pretty sure Redigit also really likes Metroid, because there are also Metroid assets in this game. If you want, you can get a second cannon, but that's only if you're playing two-player. You can't get two cannons at a time. Well, not with your own two arms, anyway. So yeah, Ponehammer levels are generally these types of levels with Metroid assets and stuff for some reason. Why? I don't know, it's just here. But this is a fairly simple stage. You just get to use this cool cannon that just fires bullet bills constantly, and you just get to wreck everything. Unless you're very small and you screw up a bunch of sections and you try to go upwards and screw that up. Like, there's an item up there which I believe is a hammer suit, right? Yeah. So if you try going for that and you screw it up a lot, then you might have a lot of deaths and might go through a lot of trouble. But if you don't, this level's pretty easy. You just blaze through everything. I do like these stages because they're just plain fun to use this cannon. There also used to be a piranha plant item that functions similarly to this. I believe it was removed from the game, though. But basically, it just ate everything in front of you. It was also pretty cool. I think it might have gotten removed for being too broken, though? I mean, I don't know why you'd remove it for that reason. If you think it's too broken, then don't include it in your level, basically. Might have been for different reasons, though. It might not have worked with the engine or something. I don't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, yeah. While it is Metroid assets, it's not really a Metroid level. We're not going around to find different items to get through different areas. You could probably do one of those types of stages in SMBX. Wouldn't work out that well, just because, of course, it's a platformer, not a Metroidvania type game. Though, it's not like you could get an item and then screw yourself if you got hit, because you can't have items respawn in this game, so that's not a problem. It's just the fact that dying would be a huge problem in this, because it's just a normal platforming level and not a Metroid game. But since it is also a platformer, there are also these weird platforming sections, which aren't too amazing. There are these zoomers that crawl around on them. They're not really too bad. Shoot them with a cannon, basically. This level can actually get pretty tough if you lose the cannon, but it's kind of hard to actually do that. You'd have to throw it in a pit. It can't be destroyed otherwise, so for half the level you can't lose it anyway. But we're done with that stage, and there's no secret exit, I believe, right? Yeah, there isn't a secret exit, so we don't have to worry about going back there. Ah, but there is a secret exit here. Switch Action Zone. I remember this one. This one is based off of, surprise surprise, P-switches, which I believe we'll see in just a sec. Fire flowers are very useful in this world, just, of course, because we're not dealing with Super Mario Bros. 2 enemies, we're dealing with Super Mario World enemies, and these ugly Goombas, if you've played Super Mario World, if you hit them, they'll just flip upside down, you can carry them around and stuff, so fire flowers is a better way to dispatch them. So yes, this is basically the stage. Sometimes the P-switch will make things easier, or sometimes it just makes things possible. That one was just for a reward to get through the section successfully. You might have noticed that was a pink egg, though. There are some custom Yoshis in Super Mario Bros. X, which we won't be seeing just because I'm using Toad, but Pink Yoshi actually spits things out as vegetables. So there's that. It's not the most useful ability, but hey, it's kind of one of the less broken Yoshis, I guess. So as long as it doesn't get a blue shell, it won't be too broken. Also, of course, be very careful if you're playing as Peach or Toad, because the P-switch, yeah, it could screw you over if you're not moving correctly, and if you're using the boots, that does mean you have to carry it yourself, the P-switch. Yoshi can carry it in his mouth, so it's not a problem. And of course, Link is not recommended for this stage, just because A, he needs to build up momentum, and B, Of course, there is also the fact that he can't carry P-switches, so he's not really good. He'd basically just have to, like, stab them around to make them useful. So I would not recommend using him at all. I mean, I wouldn't recommend using him in the first place, because he's not that good, but definitely don't use him here. Alright, so it should be pretty easy to find the secret exit, but I'm going to cut over there. Alright, so this is where the secret exit is. I don't want to abandon my boot, but unfortunately I will have to in order to get the secret exit. So yeah, see what we need to do? Press it right here and follow the coins down. But don't stop there, because we do have to clear out even more coins before this runs out. Make sure to get the lock, and then you're safe. But unfortunately, since you can't carry things with a boot, this is going to have to be the boot's resting place. Good luck, boot. May you find success on your own journey. So we've got another secret exit, and this one leads to a pretty similar level. This one's only a one exit level, but this one's based around the P-switch again, except this time it is completely necessary to press these P-switches to get through the level. And of course this is a P-switch run, so if the P-switch runs out, you're dead. So Toad is pretty much the perfect character for this stage because, well, he's fast. Link, again, not recommended. Peach is okay, because that float might help, and Mario and Luigi are decent. Other than Link, there's really no bad character for this. Wow, I suck. That, by the way, is a yellow Koopa in a shell. If a yellow Koopa gets into a shell, it'll turn into a little disco ball of pain or whatever, and you have to avoid it, because if you don't avoid it, well, it's almost completely invincible, except you can spin jump it. So I'm just throwing that out there. So yeah, this is actually a pretty fun stage since you have to speed through it. But there's nothing too much to speak about. Just have to travel on these blocks, just gotta go fast. There probably could stand to be a few more enemies, of course. As soon as I say that, there's a Lakitu who's throwing stuff at us. That Super Mario World Lakitu, by the way, is actually a bit different than the Super Mario Bros. 3 Lakitu on the SMBX engine. You can actually have the Super Mario World Lakitu throw pretty much anything. You can have him throw items, you can have him throw Spinies as normal, you can also have him throw bosses, so it's kind of interesting when that happens. We're not going to see that in this game, though. Redigit didn't do anything like that. So we go to the treasure house, which I don't think has any hammer suits, so not quite as useful as the other house, unless you count the Super Leaf. The Super Leaf, of course, can allow you to fly with Mario and Luigi, and pretty much everyone, actually, but Toad's Super Leaf is absolutely the best item you can get for him, because it allows you to double jump, and that is insanely useful. You can still fly, but the double jump is really good. Hey, Waluigi, I'm gonna cut in line. What do you think of that? What do you mean, let you out? Isn't this a fun house? Oh no! So apparently in his off time, Waluigi isn't some jerk who tries to crash all the parties in Mario Karts. No, he is very malicious and traps people in just rooms of death for absolutely no reason at all. What does he have to gain from this? I mean, it's not like there's an entry fee or anything. No, he's just sending us to our deaths. Waluigi, that's just cruel. Ah well, whatever. So this is a bit of a weird stage, just because there are rings in a Sonic background. That's like the only Sonic assets, though. It's pretty much just limited to these rings and Mystic Cave Zone. I think is there any Sonic music in this game? I don't think there is, actually, maybe? I don't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, yeah, it's another one of these stages in which you just use a cannon to destroy everything. This one's pretty fun, though. Honestly, I wouldn't suggest using Toad for this because, while that double jump is helpful, you might have noticed, the fact that Toad carries the cannon over his head does mean that sometimes your bullets just glitch into walls. So that's not exactly too helpful. Mario and Luigi are better in that respect, just because they don't do that, and therefore, the cannon's always in front of them. I mean, plus having the cannon in front of you is just better in general, because it's easier to hit enemies that way. because Peach and Toad, they might sometimes miss, especially in terms of smaller enemies, and that's never fun. But this stage isn't too bad either way, even if you... No matter who you use, this stage isn't too bad. There are a couple of sections in which you might get nicked by something, and especially now that's bad for me since I've got a double jump that I don't want to lose. And I just lost my double jump. And did those gray blocks look familiar? Well, they might have been reskinned to match the Super Mario World style, but those are gray blocks. And that, of course, means that we're going to need to bring a hammer suit to this stage. So I guess it's kinda not good that I lost my raccoon suit, but I need to get rid of it anyway. So I'll be right back, and when I return, I will have a hammer suit that I'll have to keep for the entire stage. Alright, so you do have to go most of the way through the stage for this secret exit, but whatever. That kind of makes sense as a secret exit, because it's more of a just don't get hit challenge. And I didn't get hit, and I kept my hammer suit till the end, or boomerang suit in this case. And that's the third star, so I believe there should be a reward waiting for us in the Star Temple, or Palace, or whatever it's called. And it should be to the left, right? No, it's to the right. Yeah, I think the other one's 5, I guess. So down here we have... Yeah, this is only an Ice Yoshi, so it's not useful for us, but that is one of the custom Yoshis. It's a Yoshi that spits ice whenever it swallows an enemy and spits it out. That is the one nice thing about Veggie Yoshi and Ice Yoshi is, normal Yoshis, their only effects come from shells, but the other ones, yeah, they're actually based on all enemies. You can swallow any enemy and get an effect from it, so that is one advantage to them. But anyway, this castle is very reminiscent of, well, kind of reminiscent of a Super Mario World castle. It's not quite there like the rest of the world. I mean, maybe it's just because I've played Super Mario World so many times, but I can tell it's only really inspired by it and not exactly like a completely perfect sort of Super Mario World sort of design. Style? Yeah, I'll go with style. This is also a very short stage. In fact, we're almost near the end. We just have to play the waiting game here so we don't get crushed. Thankfully, you have plenty of space to get in between those two blocks, because otherwise, you could probably get glitch crushed, and no one wants that. Always be careful with moving objects, because they could very well be the death of you. Always be cautious of that, and see, we're at the end of the stage already. Definitely a bit shorter than a Super Mario World castle, or at least a later castle. So here's... oh, damn it. So here's Ludwig. He's actually a pretty unique boss. Works mostly like he did in Super Mario World. Unlike the other Koopaling that's in this game. I believe it's Larry that's in this game? There's only one other Koopaling that's based on the Super Mario Bros. 3 Koopalings, but of course you can re-sprite them so that they look like the other Koopalings. But anyway, yeah, Ludwig isn't too difficult. He's dead already, so... that is it for Super Mario World, or Dino Island as I think it's called. So, next time on the Invasion 2, we go to the Koopa Kingdom, which I can only assume is the final area in the game. I mean, why else would it be called Koopa Kingdom? It's clearly Bowser's home turf.